Listen carefully. Most traders do not fail because they are lazy. They fail because they are addicted. And this is the part nobody wants to hear, because addiction does not always look like weakness. Sometimes addiction looks like discipline. Sometimes it looks like ambition. Sometimes it looks like waking up early, opening 6 charts, drinking coffee, ignoring your family, skipping meals, sitting in front of the screen for 18 hours, and telling yourself, I'm working hard. But you are not working hard. You are feeding something. There is a difference. When I was young, I thought the same way. I thought the more I watched the market, the more I would understand it. I thought if I stared at every candle, every tick, every movement, eventually the market would reveal something to me. Some secret. Some hidden rhythm. Some small clue that only the most dedicated trader could see. So I watched. Morning. Afternoon. Night. I watched price move 1 tick up, 1 tick down. I watched candles open and close as if they were breathing. I watched screens until my eyes felt dry, until the room around me disappeared, until I forgot that there was a world outside the market. And for a long time, I called that dedication. But it was not dedication. It was obsession. And obsession is not the same as mastery. This is where many traders destroy themselves. They confuse screen time with skill. They confuse emotional suffering with progress. They confuse isolation with seriousness. They lose relationships, lose sleep, lose peace, lose their health, and then they tell themselves, this is what it takes. No. That is not what it takes. That is what keeps you trapped. A professional trader is not someone who watches the market all day like a starving animal waiting for food. A professional trader is someone who can wait without needing stimulation. Someone who can see an opportunity and act, but also see nothing and remain still. That second part is what amateurs cannot do. They cannot remain still. They need action. They need movement. They need the feeling. And that feeling is the problem. Most people think trading addiction means losing money every day and not being able to stop. That is one form of it. But trading addiction can also look like studying too much, checking charts too much, watching price too much, refreshing accounts too much, moving from market to market, setup to setup, strategy to strategy, because your mind has become dependent on the stimulation. You tell yourself you are analyzing. But really, you are searching for a hit. A green candle gives you a hit. A red candle gives you a hit. A sudden breakout gives you a hit. A trade entry gives you a hit. Even a loss gives you a hit, because at least something is happening. And once your brain starts needing the market to make you feel alive, you are no longer trading. You are gambling with better vocabulary. That is the brutal truth. You can call it scalping. You can call it active trading. You can call it market experience. You can call it building screen time. But if your heart is racing, if your mood depends on every candle, if you cannot walk away, if you feel empty when you are not in a position, then you are not building skill. You are building dependency. And dependency always becomes expensive. Not only financially, physically, mentally, emotionally. A trader who spends every day in a state of excitement, fear, urgency, and frustration is damaging himself. The body is not built to live inside a chart. The nervous system is not built to trade every 5-minute candle like survival. Your heart should not be racing because price pulled back 3 points. Your breathing should not change because your unrealized P&L turned red. Your identity should not collapse because one trade failed. But this is what happens when trading becomes addiction. The market becomes your drug. The chart becomes your casino. The broker becomes your dealer. And your capital becomes the price you pay to keep feeling something. I know this because I have felt it. There were times when I believed I had to do more. More trades. More watching. More studying. More hours. More sacrifice. I thought the market respected effort the same way school respects effort. I thought if I gave it more of my life, it would eventually pay me back. But the market does not reward effort. It rewards correct behavior. That is different. You can work 18 hours a day and still behave like a fool. You can stare at charts for 2 years and still not understand yourself. You can take 50 trades a week and still not be a trader. Because trading is not measured by how much you do. It is measured by how well you control yourself when there is nothing to do. That is where the real test begins. Anyone can click a button. Anyone can enter a trade. Anyone can say, I think this will go up. That is not skill. Skill is waiting 4 hours and not forcing a trade. Skill is seeing a candle move without you and not chasing it. Skill is closing the platform after your plan is finished. Skill is accepting that the market will move without you, and that this is not an emergency. Most traders never reach this point because their ego cannot tolerate stillness. Stillness feels like failure to them. If they are not trading, they feel lazy. If they are not watching, they feel behind. If they are not involved, they feel like someone else is winning while they are doing nothing. But doing nothing is not the same as being passive. Doing nothing is often the most professional decision you can make. When I began to understand this, my entire relationship with the market changed. I stopped asking, how can I find more trades? I started asking, which trades deserve my attention? That question changed everything. Because most trades do not deserve your attention. Most candles are noise. Most movements are traps. Most setups are average. Most opportunities are not opportunities. They are invitations to feed your addiction. The addicted trader wants more. The professional trader wants better. That is the difference. The addicted trader wakes up and asks, where can I make money today? The professional trader wakes up and asks, is there anything worth risking money on today? Those are not the same question. One comes from hunger. The other comes from discipline. And the market can smell hunger. I do not mean that literally. The market is not a person. It does not know your name. It does not care about your life. But your behavior exposes you. When you are hungry, you chase. When you chase, you enter late. When you enter late, your stop is poor. When your stop is poor, your size becomes emotional. When your size becomes emotional, you cannot think clearly. Then one small mistake becomes 3 mistakes, then 3 mistakes become a red day, then a red day becomes revenge trading, then revenge trading becomes a blown account. And after all of that, the trader says, the market was manipulated. Maybe it was. Maybe it was not. But that is not the point. The point is that you were available to be destroyed. You place yourself there. You entered the machine with no control over your own impulses and then blamed the machine for doing what it has always done. This is why I tell students, your first job is not to find a better indicator. Your first job is not to find a perfect strategy. Your first job is not to increase size. Your first job is to reduce the number of times you allow your worst self to touch the mouse. Because your worst self is expensive. Your bored self is expensive. Your lonely self is expensive. Your desperate self is expensive. Your angry self is expensive. Your, I just need one good trade, self is very expensive. And most traders keep giving these versions of themselves access to their account. Then they wonder why they cannot become consistent. Let me tell you something simple. If you trade 10 times a day, but only 2 of those trades are truly high quality, then 8 of your trades are not trading. They are leakage. They are emotional tax. They are the cost of not being able to sit still. And over time, that cost becomes your career. People want to believe consistency comes from doing more. They think if they trade more, they will gain more experience. But experience is not created by repetition alone. Experience is created by correct observation and honest review. If you repeat bad behavior 1,000 times, you do not become experienced. You become deeply trained in failure. This is why a trader can spend 5 years in the market and still act like a beginner. He has screen time, but no self-awareness. He has watched thousands of candles, but never watched himself. He knows what a breakout looks like, but he does not know what his own impatience feels like before it takes control. That is not experience. That is survival without growth. And many traders live there. They know enough to continue. They lose enough to suffer. They win enough to believe. They never change enough to escape. Trading addiction is dangerous because it gives you just enough reward to keep you trapped. A small win after 5 bad trades. A lucky recovery after revenge trading. A big green day after 2 weeks of chaos. These moments become poison because they teach the wrong lesson. They tell your brain, see, if you keep clicking, eventually something works. That is the same logic that destroys gamblers. The gambler does not remember the full cost. He remembers the moment the machine paid him. The addicted trader does the same thing. He forgets the stress. He forgets the bad entries. He forgets the rule breaking. He forgets how close he came to blowing the account. He remembers the recovery trade. He remembers the candle that saved him. He remembers the feeling of being right after suffering. And because he remembers the feeling, he repeats the behavior. This is how the loop forms. Pain. Action. Temporary relief. More pain. More action. Temporary relief. Eventually, the trader is no longer trading to make money. He is trading to escape the discomfort created by his previous trades. That is addiction. And you cannot solve addiction with a new moving average. You cannot solve addiction with a new funded account. You cannot solve addiction with a higher payout target. You solve it by removing the behavior that feeds it. That means fewer trades, fewer charts, fewer hours, fewer decisions, fewer opportunities for your emotions to hijack you. This sounds simple, but for an addicted trader, it feels like death. Tell an overtrader to take only 1 trade a day, and he will panic. Not because 1 trade is impossible, but because without the extra trades, he has to face himself. He has to feel the boredom. He has to feel the urge. He has to feel the emptiness of not being in action. That is where the real work is. Not in the chart. In the withdrawal. A trader who cannot stop trading is not free. He may have a strategy. He may have knowledge. He may even have talent. But he is not free. Freedom in trading means you can walk away. Freedom means you can miss a move and not lose your mind. Freedom means you can close the platform after your loss and not try to repair your ego. Freedom means you can have a green day and still stop. That last one is important. Many traders think discipline is only needed after losses. No. Discipline after wins is just as important. Sometimes more important. Because a win makes you feel powerful. A win makes you feel chosen. A win makes your brain say, you see it today. You are in sync. Press harder. This is how green days become red days. Not because the trader was bad, Because the trader could not leave victory alone. There is a strange greed that comes after success. It does not feel like greed. It feels like confidence. It feels like momentum. It feels like, I should take advantage of this. But often, that is just addiction wearing a clean shirt. You made money. You got the hit. Now your brain wants another one. This is why you must have a stopping rule. Not a suggestion. A rule. A daily max loss. A daily max win. A maximum number of trades. A time limit. A rule for when you are allowed to trade and when you are finished. Without these limits, you are not a trader. You are a person with internet access and an emotional problem. Do not take that personally. Take it seriously. Most traders do not need more freedom. They need more restriction. They think freedom means being able to trade whenever they want. But that is not freedom. That is exposure. Freedom is knowing exactly when you are allowed to act. Freedom is knowing exactly when you must stop. Freedom is structure. I learned this slowly. At first, I resisted it. I wanted to believe I could handle unlimited opportunity. I wanted to believe I was different. Many traders believe this. They think rules are for people with less talent. They think if they have enough intuition, they can bend the rules. The market loves people like this. They provide liquidity. They provide volume. They provide opportunity for disciplined traders. If you cannot control yourself, someone else will profit from your lack of control. That is the market. It is not kind. It is not fair. It is not designed to protect you. If you show up with emotional weakness, the market will eventually find it. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But over enough trades, your weakness will become visible in your account. This is why I say the market is a mirror. It does not create your addiction. It reveals it. If you are impulsive, the market will show you. If you are desperate, the market will show you. If you are greedy, the market will show you. If you are unable to accept boredom, the market will show you. If you need money too badly, the market will show you. And it will charge you for the lesson. Every time. The question is whether you will keep paying. There are traders who lose for years because they refuse to admit they are addicted to action. They keep searching for a strategy problem because a strategy problem is easier to accept than a character problem. If the strategy is the problem, you can buy a new one. If the indicator is the problem, you can change it. If the market condition is the problem, you can wait. But if you are the problem, then the work becomes uncomfortable. You have to change your routine. You have to change your identity. You have to stop calling obsession discipline. You have to stop pretending 18 hours on the screen is professionalism. It is not. No professional pilot flies 18 hours with a nervous system on fire and calls it dedication. No surgeon operates all day without rest and calls it passion. No athlete trains until his body breaks and calls it intelligence. But traders do this every day. They sit in front of charts from morning to night, destroying their focus, damaging their health, and then convince themselves they are closer to success because they suffered. Suffering alone means nothing. The market does not pay you for suffering. It pays you for execution. And clean execution requires a clean mind. A clean mind does not come from 18 hours of candle watching. A clean mind comes from preparation, patience, and distance. Distance is underrated. You need distance from the chart to see clearly. When your face is pressed against every tick, everything feels important. A tiny pullback feels like a reversal. A tiny breakout feels like the beginning of a trend. A small wick feels like manipulation. A minor pause feels like danger. Too much closeness distorts reality. That is why addicted traders cannot see the market clearly. They are not observing. They are reacting. Every candle becomes personal. Every tick becomes emotional. Every movement becomes a message. But most of it is noise. The market spends more time doing nothing meaningful than doing something meaningful. If you cannot tell the difference, you will donate money during the noise and have no energy left when the real opportunity comes. This is one of the quiet secrets of trading. You do not need to catch every move. You need to be mentally alive for the few moves that matter. But if you waste your attention all day, if you burn your nervous system on low-quality setups, if you take random trades because you are bored, you will not be ready when the real trade comes. You will be tired. You will be emotional. You will be down money. You will hesitate. Or worse, you will be stuck in a bad position when the real opportunity appears. This is why less trading can make more money. Not because less is magical. Because less protects your capital, your focus, and your emotional stability. A trader who takes 2 excellent trades a week can outperform a trader who takes 30 average trades a week. The amateur does not believe this because the amateur is addicted to activity. The professional understands that money is made in selectivity. You are not paid by the trade. You are paid by the quality of your decisions. So ask yourself honestly. How many of your trades are actually necessary? How many of your trades would you still take if you were only allowed 3 trades this week? How many would survive that filter? Probably not many. Good. That means you already know the truth. You are not lacking opportunities. You are lacking restraint. And restraint is what separates the trader from the addict. Let me give you a practical example. A trader wakes up. He opens the chart. There is no clear setup. Price is in the middle of the range. The moving averages are flat. Volume is unclear. The market has no clean direction. A professional says, nothing to do. An addict says, maybe there is something. That word maybe destroys accounts. Maybe it will break out. Maybe it will reverse. Maybe this candle is the start. Maybe I can scalp a little. Maybe I can recover yesterday. Maybe I can make $100 quickly. Maybe. 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 Professional trading is not built on maybe. It is built on conditions. If this happens, I act. If it does not happen, I wait. That is it. The addicted trader cannot live inside that simplicity because simplicity feels boring. He wants drama. He wants movement. He wants to feel clever. He wants to be involved. But the market does not reward involvement. It rewards precision. And precision usually means waiting longer than you want. This is the part that hurts. The setup you need may not appear today. It may not appear tomorrow. You may go 2 days with nothing. You may go 1 week with only 1 clean trade. Most traders cannot accept that because they did not come to trading for patience. They came for escape. Escape from a job. Escape from being broke. Escape from feeling behind. Escape from ordinary life. Escape from boredom. Escape from themselves. And because they came for escape, they need the market to provide emotional intensity. When the market is quiet, they feel abandoned. When there is no setup, they feel useless. When they do not trade, they feel like they are wasting time. But a trader must learn to separate progress from action. Some days, progress is not trading. Some days, progress is protecting your account. Some days, progress is closing the laptop. Some days, progress is going outside and remembering you are a human being, not a pair of eyes attached to a chart. This may sound soft, but it is not. It is survival. If your life becomes only trading, your trading will become too heavy. Every trade will carry your identity. Every loss will feel like proof you are failing. Every missed move will feel like punishment. Every drawdown will feel like life is closing in on you. That emotional weight makes good trading impossible. You need a life outside the market so the market does not become your only source of meaning. An addicted trader has no emotional diversification. Everything is in the chart. His confidence, his mood, his future, his self-worth, his hope. That is too much pressure for a candle. No candle should carry your entire life. But this is what happens when you isolate yourself for trading and call it sacrifice. There is healthy sacrifice, and there is self-destruction. Healthy sacrifice means you study, prepare, journal, and execute with discipline. Self-destruction means you stop sleeping, stop living, stop talking to people, stop taking care of your body, and tell yourself this is what greatness requires. It does not. Greatness requires clarity. And clarity requires recovery. You need sleep. You need food. You need movement. You need silence. You need time away from the chart. Not because you are weak. Because you are biological. Your brain has limits. Your attention has limits. Your emotional control has limits. If you pretend you do not have limits, the market will teach you otherwise. I have seen traders who were smart, talented, and motivated destroy themselves because they treated their mind like it was unlimited. They pushed and pushed until they became anxious, reactive, paranoid, and exhausted. Then they made decisions from that state and called it bad luck when their account suffered. It was not bad luck. It was bad self-management. Trading is self-management under uncertainty. That is the game. The chart is only the surface. Underneath the chart is your nervous system, your ego, your patience, your fear, your greed, your need for stimulation, your inability to accept waiting. If you cannot manage those, no strategy will save you. This is why I do not tell struggling traders to start by adding more indicators. I tell them to reduce trades. Not size first. Trades first. Because if you reduce size but still take 20 emotional trades, you are still training the addiction. You are just making it cheaper. Cheaper addiction is still addiction. You need to break the pattern. Fewer trades forces you to become selective. Fewer trades forces you to define what quality means. Fewer trades forces you to sit with discomfort. Fewer trades forces you to stop using the market as entertainment. If you are only allowed one trade a day, suddenly you think differently. You stop wasting it on a random candle. You stop entering because of boredom. You start asking, is this really worth my only shot today? That question alone can save you. Because most trades are not worth your only shot. Most trades are just impulses with a technical excuse. The addicted brain is clever. It knows how to disguise desire as analysis. It will say, this is a liquidity grab. It will say, this is a breakout retest. It will say, this is a scalp. It will say, this is high probability. But underneath, there is often only one truth. You wanted to trade. That is it. You wanted action, and your mind found a reason. This is why journaling matters. Not a fake journal where you write entry, exit, profit, loss. That is not enough. You need to journal the emotion. Why did I take this trade? Was it part of my plan? Was I bored? Was I trying to recover? Was I afraid of missing out? Was I already tired? Did I feel pressure to make money today? Did I enter because the setup was clear, or because I wanted the market to give me something? These questions expose the addiction. And exposure is painful. Most traders avoid this because they do not want to see the truth. They want to believe they are close. They want to believe consistency is just one strategy away. But sometimes the truth is simple. You are overtrading. You are overstimulated. You are emotionally attached. You are using the market for dopamine. Until that changes, nothing changes. I want you to understand the long-term danger. Trading addiction does not only drain accounts. It changes your personality. You become impatient. You become irritable. You cannot enjoy normal life because normal life feels slow compared to the market. You check charts during conversations. You think about positions while eating. You wake up and immediately look at your phone. You feel anxiety when you are away from the screen. You become emotionally unavailable because part of your mind is always in the trade. This is not freedom. This is slavery with a laptop. Many people come to trading because they want freedom. But then they build a prison out of candles. They cannot leave the screen. They cannot stop checking. They cannot trust their plan. They cannot take a day off. They cannot enjoy profits. They cannot accept losses. So tell me, where is the freedom? Freedom is not being able to trade all day. Freedom is not needing to. That is the goal. To reach a point where the market is part of your life, not the owner of it. Where you can execute and then step away. Where you can accept that your edge does not require constant presence. Where you stop believing that staring harder will change the outcome. Because it will not. The market will not move in your direction because you watch it. This sounds obvious, but many traders behave as if their attention has power. They stare at a trade like they can force it to work. They refresh the P&L like the number will improve because they are suffering. It will not. Your job was done before entry. Your job was planning the trade, defining the risk, choosing the setup, managing according to rules. After that, staring is often just anxiety. And anxiety does not improve execution. It usually destroys it. You interfere. You exit too early. You move stops. You add randomly. You reverse. You take another trade to calm yourself. The more you watch, the more you feel. The more you feel, the more you touch. The more you touch, the more you damage. Sometimes the best trade management is leaving it alone. But addicted traders cannot leave anything alone. They need to touch the trade because touching gives them the illusion of control. But control does not mean constant adjustment. Control means following the plan. If your plan says stop below structure, then stop below structure. If your plan says take profit at resistance, then take profit at resistance. If your plan says no more trades after 2 losses, then no more trades after 2 losses. Not because you feel calm. Because the rule exists for the moments when you do not. Rules are not there for your best self. Your best self does not need many rules. Rules are there for your worst self. The self that appears after a loss. The self that appears after a win. The self that appears when you are tired. The self that appears when you feel behind. The self that appears when the candle moves without you. That is the self that must be contained. And if you refuse to contain it, the market will. True losses. True blown accounts. True emotional damage. True years of repeating the same cycle. I do not say this to insult you. I say it because the market will be less polite. The market does not give motivational speeches. It gives consequences. And consequences are expensive. So what do? First, you admit the truth. Not publicly. Not dramatically. Just honestly. You say, I'm not only struggling with strategy. I'm struggling with addiction to action. That sentence is powerful. Because now you are not hiding. Second, you reduce the number of trades. Immediately. Not next month. Not after you pass your next challenge. Now. Set a hard limit. 1 to 3 trades per day maximum. For many traders, even 3 is too many. If you are severely addicted to overtrading, start with 1. 1 trade. That is your medicine. You will hate it. Good. That means it is touching the wound. Third, define your A+ setup in writing. Not in your head. In writing. What must be present? Trend. Level. Moving average alignment. Time of day. Volume. Market structure. Risk to reward. Invalidation. Write it down so clearly that there is no room for emotional negotiation. If the setup does not match, you do not trade. Not maybe. Not small size. Not just a scalp. No trade. Fourth, create a shutdown rule. After your trade limit is reached, platform closed. After your max loss is hit, platform closed. After your daily target is hit, platform closed. After emotional disturbance, platform closed. And do not pretend you need to keep watching for education. That is the lie addiction uses. You can review later. You can study screenshots. You can journal after the market closes. You do not need to sit there feeding the loop. Fifth, build life back into your day. This matters. Walk. Train. Eat properly. Talk to people. Make music. Clean your room. Read. Do something that reminds your brain that dopamine exists outside the chart. Because if the market becomes your only source of stimulation, you will keep returning to it like an addict returns to the substance. You need other sources of meaning. Not to become distracted. To become stable. A stable trader is dangerous. Not emotionally dangerous. Professionally dangerous. Because he is not easy to shake. He does not need every move. He does not chase. He does not panic. He does not revenge trade. He does not need the market to entertain him. He waits. And when the real setup appears, he acts. This is the trader who survives. Not the loud one. Not the one bragging online. Not the one taking 50 trades. The quiet one. The selective one. The one who understands that every click must be earned. There was a time when I sat in a small room and watched the market quietly. People later talked about the money, the numbers, the famous trades. They always focus on the outcome. But they do not understand the silence behind it. The waiting. The restraint. The boredom. The decision not to act. The ability to let the market come to me instead of chasing it like a starving man. That is where the money is made. Not in the excitement. The excitement is what takes the money away. The best trading often feels almost boring. You prepare. You wait. The setup appears. You execute. You manage. You stop. No drama. No emotional movie. No racing heart. No revenge. No fantasy. Just process. That is what you should want. But many traders do not want that at first because boring trading does not feed the wound. They want trading to make them feel powerful. They want it to replace pain. They want it to prove they are special. And that is why they lose. Trading cannot be therapy. Trading cannot be revenge against life. Trading cannot be your escape from insecurity. Trading cannot carry your need to prove people wrong. If you bring all of that into the market will use it against you. You must become lighter, less needy, less reactive, less hungry, less desperate. This is the paradox. The less you need the market, the better you trade it. The more you need it, the more it owns you. So when I say make fewer trades, I'm not giving you a small tip. I'm giving you a path back to control. Fewer trades means fewer emotional triggers. Fewer trades means cleaner review. Fewer trades means less damage. Fewer trades means more patience. Fewer trades means you begin to respect capital again. And capital is not just money. Capital is time, energy, confidence, focus, emotional strength. Most traders only track financial drawdown. They ignore emotional drawdown. But emotional drawdown is often what destroys them first. After too many trades, too many losses, too many mistakes, the trader becomes mentally damaged. He stops trusting himself. He sees good setups and hesitates. He sees bad setups and enters. His perception becomes corrupted by pain. That is why you must protect your mind the same way you protect your account. Every unnecessary trade is a withdrawal from your mental capital. Every revenge trade is damage. Every forced entry is damage. Every day you sit glued to the screen with no plan is damage. You may not feel it immediately, but it compounds. And one day you wake up and trading feels heavy. You feel anxious before the session. You feel tired before you begin. You feel like the market is against you. You feel trapped. That did not happen in one day. You train your nervous system to associate trading with chaos. Now you must retrain it. Calm. Rules. Less exposure. Better trades. Clear stops. Defined sessions. Life outside the market. This is how you recover. Not by quitting ambition. By removing poison from the process. Some of you will resist this because you want fast money. You will say, but if I take fewer trades, I will make less. Maybe at first. But let me ask you something. Are you making money now with more trades? Be honest. If overtrading was going to save you, it would have saved you already. If watching the screen 18 hours a day was the answer, you would already be free. If more clicking created consistency, every addict would be rich. But they are not. They are exhausted. They are broke. They are confused. They are angry. Because the behavior that feels productive is the behavior destroying them. This is the hard truth. Your work ethic may be real, but it is pointed in the wrong direction. You do not need more hours. You need better rules. You do not need more trades. You need better filters. You do not need more intensity. You need more calm. You do not need to prove your dedication by suffering. You need to prove your professionalism by stopping. Stopping is a skill. Stopping after one loss. Stopping after one win. Stopping when the setup is gone. Stopping when your body is tense. Stopping when you feel revenge. Stopping when you want to make back money. Stopping when you are bored. Most traders practice entry. Few practice stopping. That is why they fail. They know how to get into trades. They do not know how to get out of emotional cycles. So here is what I want you to do. For the next 7 trading days, you will trade less. Not think about trading less. Actually trade less. Maximum 1 to 3 trades per day. Only your best setup. No random scalps. No revenge entries. No, I just want to test something. No watching charts all day pretending it is education. Prepare before the session. Trade only during your chosen window. Journal the trade. Close the platform. Then review later. This will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is proof that the addiction was real. Do not run from it. Study it. When you feel the urge to click, write it down. When you feel fear of missing out, write it down. When you feel boredom, write it down. When you feel the need to recover, write it down. You are not only journaling the market anymore. You are journaling the trader. That is where the real edge is. Because once you understand your own patterns, you stop being controlled by them. You begin to notice the moment before the mistake. That moment is everything. There is always a moment before self-sabotage. A small tightening in the body. A thought that says, just this once. A feeling of urgency. A need to act. A refusal to accept waiting. If you can catch that moment, you can interrupt the cycle. That is how discipline is built. Not through motivation. Through interruption. Urge appears. You do not obey. Urge appears again. You do not obey. Over time, the urge weakens. Your identity changes. You stop being the trader who needs action. You become the trader who waits for quality. That is transformation. Not a new indicator. Not a new broker. Not a new challenge. A new relationship with yourself. And when that changes, your trading changes. The chart may look the same, but you are different. You see the same candle, but you no longer chase it. You see the same breakout, but you wait for confirmation. You take the same loss, but you do not revenge trade. You make the same profit, but you do not give it back. This is what consistency looks like. Small changes in behavior repeated until they become identity. The addicted trader asks, how can I make money today? The professional asks, how can I behave correctly today? Money is the result. Behavior is the cause. Fix the cause. I want you to remember this sentence. The market does not pay you for being present. It pays you for being prepared. You do not need to be there for every candle. You need to be ready for your candle. Your setup. Your condition. Your moment. And if it does not come, you walk away with your capital intact. That is a winning day. Even if you made $0. This is another truth amateurs hate. A flat day can be a professional day. If there was no setup and you did not trade, that is discipline. If you avoided 3 bad trades, that is profit. Not visible profit, but future profit. Because you preserve capital for the moment that matters. Most traders only respect money they made. Professionals respect money they did not lose. Avoided loss is real. Avoided emotional damage is real. Avoided revenge spiral is real. Avoided overtrading is real. These things do not show up as green P&L, but they build the foundation for long-term survival. And survival comes first. Before profit. Before payouts. Before lifestyle. Before freedom. Survive. A trader who survives long enough with discipline eventually finds opportunity. A trader who burns himself out chasing every candle never gets there. So if you are listening to this and you recognize yourself, do not lie. If you are checking charts all day, admit it. If you are trading for excitement, admit it. If you feel anxious when you are not in a position, admit it. If you keep giving back profits because you cannot stop, admit it. If you call addiction grinding, admit it. This is not shame. This is the beginning of control. The shame is continuing to destroy yourself while pretending you are serious. Serious traders do not need constant action. Serious traders need standards. And your first standard should be simple. No low-quality trades. If that means no trades today, good. If that means one trade this week, good. If that means you feel bored, good. Boredom is not your enemy. Boredom is the doorway. On the other side of boredom is patience. On the other side of patience is selectivity. On the other side of selectivity is consistency. But you will never reach it if you keep feeding the need for stimulation. So stop worshipping screen time. Stop bragging about how many hours you watch charts. Stop thinking isolation makes you professional. Stop mistaking emotional exhaustion for progress. The goal is not to become a person who can stare at candles all day. The goal is to become a person who does not need to. That is power. Quiet power. The kind nobody sees. The kind that shows up in your account after months of not doing stupid things. Most traders want a dramatic breakthrough. But often, the breakthrough is boring. You stop taking random trades. You stop watching all day. You stop chasing. You stop revenge trading. You stop after your rules say stop. Nothing glamorous. Nothing cinematic. Just fewer mistakes. And fewer mistakes, repeated over time, become consistency. That is the secret most people overlook. Consistency is not built by finding perfect trades. It is built by removing unnecessary damage. Your account does not need you to be a genius. It needs you to stop bleeding. Stop the random trades. Stop the emotional trades. Stop the revenge trades. Stop the boredom trades. Stop the trades you cannot explain. Stop the trades you would be embarrassed to screenshot and review. Stop. That word may save you more money than any strategy. Stop. And then wait. When the real setup comes, you will know. Not because you are excited. Because it matches your plan. Not because your heart is racing. Because the conditions are there. Not because you need money. Because the risk is defined and the opportunity is clean. That is trading. Everything else is entertainment with financial consequences. So I will leave you with this. If trading makes you feel constantly excited, constantly anxious, constantly desperate, constantly alive in a dangerous way, be careful. You may not be pursuing mastery. You may be feeding addiction. And addiction does not end with freedom. It ends with exhaustion. But you can change it. You can become calm. You can become selective. You can become the trader who waits. You can become the trader who takes one clean trade and walks away. You can become the trader who no longer needs the market to provide emotion. But it starts with fewer trades. Not more. Less. Less clicking. Less watching. Less forcing. Less reacting. Less ego. Less need. More discipline. More patience. More distance. More quality. That is the path. And if you refuse it, the market will keep teaching you the same lesson until you either learn it or leave. So make the decision now. Are you a trader? Or are you addicted to trading? Because those are not the same thing. And deep down, you already know which one you have been.